the soul.
Hello out there in
Internet land?
internet land. I was like TV land. It's not applicable
We don't
anymore.
have anybody anyway. Jesus.
Oh
This is
no,
gonna be a long show
I'm
for
officially COVID free.
That's good.
I tested today and it came back negative. Mike was still positive yesterday, but
Damn it, Mike.
Strong
you
line.
gotta be more negative.
Strong line.
Strong T line. But we feel like we're
Alive?
alive.
It's just a cough. It's just a cough. And
Yeah, it's a lingering cough. More alive than Brandon feels, I bet.
What was that? You talking to me?
Yeah, what is reality? What are...
My body doesn't know where it's at.
Yes.
My mind is floating somewhere above the clouds.
Well, we're happy to see you. Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good.
We got nobody.
That's okay. You know, sometimes that happens. We're here for ourselves.
This is like
It's
the
like-
I think-
first episodes where we just recorded.
Everybody else has a life.
I think the line is everybody has somebody sometimes. Not every
Yes.
time, but sometimes.
Hey.
Oh, Katie's here though. Katie's here.
All right, now we got
Yay!
sometimes.
Katie doesn't have a life. She here. I'm just kidding, Katie. She has more of a life than she goes out and she has like Dungeon and Dragon time with friends. She does trivia and
Wow.
everything. Like
I'm exhausted just hearing
participates
about it.
I know she participates in the world. Meanwhile, we're like, let's just stay home all the time.
Let's look at the birds.
Look
outside
at the
of our
birds.
Do you have the bird app yet? We put the app on, it listens to the bird, tells you what kind it is.
Oh no, that would be great. We have so many different birds flying around.
I really should have done that the last 3 years. I got like all these different country birds and got little tokens for.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. That's a good idea. We want to get like a little like outdoor camera that we can put up, so we can like catch like any wildlife or whatever that is in our shire behind our house.
Ah, very nice.
I know you're lucky to have Adam to get you out of the house, Katie. Oh, do you want to start the show? Is that what you're looking at me for?
No,
I thought we were
You're
talking about
leading
Venus.
it,
with
so-
the
we're
birds.
just listening.
Oh, you're just giving me a look like,
If Venus had birds, what kind of birds would they be?
dead?
Moltres. That's
Dead.
a throwback.
Or-
Katie knows,
It'd be very
Katie
Or-
knows about Moltres.
They'd be
Flaming birds. Phoenixes.
Or like mutant birds.
Oh, they would probably belong in
Teenage Mutant Ninja Birds.
I was going to go with Lands Between, but sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they would. No, we've already encountered those birds. We don't like those birds.
Terrifying.
Anyway, you want to start the show?
Wow, this will be a fun one.
Yeah. Pardon the coughing, everybody.
Hi, and welcome to Cosmos with Cosmos. As always, I'm Mike,
I'm Liz.
I'm Brandon.
and we are sort of here, but not.
We're here.
We're here. We made it.
Between recovering from COVID and jet lag, we're somewhat. The three of our brains together can possibly equal one brain or a half brain. We'll find
okay.
out.
ask.
Partial lobes.
Today
It's
we're
like
going
the
to be
worst
talking about
episode of
Venus,
Captain
so we'll
Planet.
find out. I mean, it's going to be like doing Grand Tour with a little more in depth.
Okay.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into
Let's
it.
jump into it.
Liz, what are you? Well, and I'll start with Brandon. Brandon, what are you drinking,
Sorry,
man?
I actually jumped and no one else did, and that's fine. So for my starter, I am drinking from my premium tea collection, Jeju Earl Grey hot from South Korea.
Ooh, nice. I mean, it does sound delightful.
It's exactly what I need right now.
Yeah.
Unlike my second drink, which is not what I need, but I'm gonna have it because Valhalla.
Hey, nice.
Skull.
Nice.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Venusian toddy, which is
Ooh.
it's a hot toddy, but because of the color and the theme of the show, I'm calling it a Venusian toddy
Ooh.
because Venus is hot. And then my second drink is technically it's a Gold Rush. All right, but I didn't think of a name for it, so it's a Gold Rush.
I like we have tea-based drinks, and Mike's gonna change it up.
Yeah, what do you got?
I have. Oh, I gotta get it. I have what I'm calling the Blue Absorber.
Oh.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, and oh, good. It does show as blue. On
It
the,
does.
On the
It's like
camera.
a nice periwinkle almost.
Yeah.
Ooh,
this is,
look at you.
In essence, this is a lavender gimlet. So it has gin, which all gimlets have, but gin, lime juice, and lavender syrup. So
Wow.
Oh, yes, I do. That's one of my new favorite drinks is a lavender gimlet. I had it last night. And I'm not a gin fan, so there's like 3 gin drinks now that I like.
Maybe you are a gin fan then.
Maybe
There are
I'm
3
a-
gin drinks?
And my second drink is just cinnamon whiskey and cranberry juice.
There you go. Classic. Good classic.
Yeah.
I love it.
This tea is just so delightful. And as we would say in South Korea, chen!
Chen.
Chen!
Chen.
All right.
Jack doesn't have a fancy drink, but that's okay. You don't have to have a fancy drink, Jack. We're just happy that you joined us. And then Katie's going to be trying some ranch water, some sort of hard seltzer that her and Adam have been wanting to try. You'll have to let me know what.
Is it like Valley Ranch drink or what?
Like, yeah, is it like ranch dressing, or is it just
Is
like
it guzzling down the bottle?
it has to do with the theme of being on a ranch? I've
think
never heard of it
ladder.
before. The ranch theme, not ranch
Yeah.
dressing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. People really like ranch dressing.
I mean, yeah, Brandon doesn't, but I do.
Anyway, you know what? She'll
up?
put it on. She'll put it on social media for you. And speaking of social media, follow us on all the things:
Hey.
Twitter, Drinking Cosmos, and Cosmos on everything else. Follow us and rate us on everything: iTunes, Spotify, whatever.
Yeah, all
wherever you
those
get-
things that
wherever
people
you
use
get your shit.
nowadays. I don't know.
Or
And
don't.
also,
I don't know.
don't forget to join us for the Hangover if you are with
Yeah.
us now. And if not, well, then I don't know what to tell you.
You can catch it later. You can
Yeah.
catch it later.
But don't forget to join us for the Hangover. And as always, check out Wildixia on Etsy, where you find all of Katie's great artwork. So it begins. so
Look, I went far away from the microphone.
so Wildixia, IXIA, on Etsy. Also check out the Mr. Proctor Show, which is Ron Proctor. And if you are in the Council Bluffs area of Iowa, then check out Jack's Planetarium at Rolling Bluffs Planetarium. And you can find out more information about what they got going on at rollingbluffsplanetarium.com. Also, The Shot every 2 weeks on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we just had a new one come out about eclipses.
Very timely.
So check it out.
We drop a little, what is supposed to be 10 minutes, and sometimes we hit it,
Uh-oh.
sometimes we don't.
Yeah, we usually hit it or under.
Yeah, we do usually hit it. But
Excuse
little shot-sized bits of astronomy. And also, as always, we have rules. If a puppy barks, they're all just lying together on a big old
Is Jack on the bed with oh
yeah.
my god, he is
on the
Jesus.
dog bed. They're lying together. But if they happen to bark, take a drink. Any Star Wars reference or Lord of the Rings reference, take a drink. And today, new rules. If any of us have a coughing fit,
That means a fit of cough, not just a single
Okay.
cough, like,
yeah, take a
but
drink.
like my
Understood.
coughs. I'm getting a dry one. It's a dry.
I also have a rule. So next to my building is a new skyscraper being built. And I learned this the last 2 weeks while I was gone, but they put something in there to where if the winds kick up above 20 miles an hour, it sounds like a train whistle. Like
Oh.
you hear it for blocks, and I'm right next to it. So if the breeze goes above 20 miles an hour, we will hear a train whistle. Take a drink.
when there
Hey.
is no train, I like it.
Ghost
That's fun.
train.
All
No, it's
right.
not. It's not fun at all.
So let's go ahead and jump right into Venus here.
But don't literally jump into Venus.
No,
I
don't do
jumped
that.
And
in.
you'll find out why. Yeah.
We'll find out why. But Venus is one of those beautiful objects that are in our sky. Third brightest object in the sky. Only the sun and moon are brighter than Venus. And it has been obviously noticed by cultures and people around the world
Good for them.
for as long as people have written shit down.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Does anybody know why women are from Venus? Is it just because we're
You
so
gotta read the
hot,
book.
I don't know what qualities of Venus attribute
Well,
to
it's just because it's
being...
beautiful. I'm sure it's because it's beautiful.
Oh, I thought it was men was from Jupiter to get more stupider, but I'm not sure what the Venus is.
Well, it's that book.
Yeah, men are from
women
Mars.
Are from Venus.
Women
men
are from
Mars.
Venus.
But no, I think just through time, because of its beauty, it's just
And
been
they'll kill ya.
associated with women.
Yeah.
Um,
Although so will Mars.
Yeah, and so speaking of some of that, the Sumerians, it was Inanna, which was the goddess of love, war, and fertility.
Oh, love, war.
And
Inanna,
fertility.
I like that.
This, yeah. Don't fuck with women.
I mean,
And
it makes
and
sense, you
provide
know.
life. We
Love
give
can
life.
lead to war.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a war, you probably need to replenish the soldiers, so you probably need to be in charge of fertility as well. So,
Wow.
so there's that.
There's lots on the pack there.
For the Babylonians, they called it Ishtar, which was
okay,
associated
Ooh,
with
like the Ishtari.
Inanna, also a goddess of love, war, and fertility.
Okay.
For the Canaanites in the same area, it was Attar, which was the male version of Ishtar.
Oh, okay. So a male Venusian twist.
Also, have a great Lord of the Rings reference in there that no one heard, which is okay.
I didn't hear it, no.
It's like the Ishtari.
Okay, all right.
No, but we
I'll give
didn't
it to you.
list that as a rule. We didn't list that as a rule, did we? We said Star Wars reference, but we didn't.
And
mention
Lord of the
Rings
Rings. It's always Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
is in
always.
there.
I don't think he mentioned it this week though.
But no, it's still
I did.
it's a given.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
a
thought
given.
like, right.
did. I said
By
Star
the
Wars
way,
already.
just a little side note for nerds out there, like the two guys that are here with us today. They're MeUndies. I haven't had any MeUndies products because I get the Tomboy X, but MeUndies has a Lord of the Rings underwear edition out. Just FYI.
Is that the
Right.
one spamming me on Instagram?
It might be, yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
So Venus is seen always really close to the sun. Not like really, really close like Mercury.
Right.
But
you mean
it's
in our
always
sky,
relatively
like
close.
in our sky. It looks like
It's always relatively close to the sun.
Not too far
And
behind
as
it.
the sun moves across the sky, Venus goes with it. And sometimes it can be seen in the early morning hours, and sometimes it's in the evening
Does
hours.
it have any nicknames?
Well,
getting there,
the evening
Liz.
star
Okay.
and the morning star.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough,
It's when you do the Starlight Star Bright for Star See tonight, that's typically
probably-
usually either Venus or Jupiter that you're
Or,
making
yeah,
a
it's a
wish
planet.
on. It's usually a
Usually.
planet that you're
Or an
that you're-
airplane.
but because it was seen in the morning sky and the evening sky, there were cultures that thought it was two different things.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
So
I
the
mean-
Egyptians saw it as the evening star as Uadi, and it was associated with Osiris and Horus. The morning star Tiamutiri,
You know, it's fine.
which was associated with like a phoenix or a heron.
Yeah.
Oh, Phoenix rising in the morning, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
In China, it was Xinjing, the golden planet of the metal element.
The Golden
Golden
Planet.
of the metal elements?
Yes.
That's fucking hardcore. I want that
God,
album.
the Chinese, their symbolism is just so beautifully poetic and in depth. It's a little extra sometimes, though.
Yeah. Vietnam also saw it as two different things. Morning star was called Mai. The evening star was called Home. The Maya, for the Maya, it was Chak Ek, the greatest
The
star.
greatest star.
You made it, guys. You're the greatest star. You made it.
Yeah. Yeah. So different cultures see different things for it. For the Greeks and the Romans, it was the bringer of light, the dawn bringer, Lucifer.
That's a weird sound, Brandon, that you got.
That wasn't the whistle.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
It was like ghost whispering.
Somebody's like sawing metal.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know. If
I think
it's like
so.
a hose. Okay.
Oh my god.
Wait, I saw Lucifer on the notes.
Yeah, I just talked
You just
about
said that? I got
it.
distracted
Yeah, I
by
said
it.
for the Greeks and Romans, it was the bringer of light, dawn bringer, Lucifer.
And Lucifer?
Dawn
Well,
bringer.
Lucifer Morningstar.
Lucifer Morningstar. And of course, the Christians took it and ran with it.
Well, of course they do, because,
Devil and shit.
Oh, hail Venus.
Hail Venus. I'll drink to that.
All right, so that's how cultures have seen it.
Right.
But
Because we didn't have telescopes or,
Right.
could really be like, oh, what actually is it?
it is a planet.
Nice.
Big ball of rock.
It's a tropical planet.
Very
Actually, yes.
tropical.
They used to think that.
I have a feeling we'll talk about that. I think we might talk about it. I don't
The
know.
All right,
humidity.
so some basic facts about it. It is 67 million miles away from the sun, which is 0.72 astronomical units. which is the average distance the Earth is from the Sun, 93 million miles. 67 million miles is 108 million kilometers for everybody else in the world. It has a diameter of 7,521 miles, which is 12,104 kilometers. It's only 400 miles smaller than the Earth's diameter.
Yes. So it's known as
Earth's twin.
Earth's twin.
Yes.
Evil fraternal twin.
Yes, it is about the same size, has about the same mass. Its internal structure is very similar.
And it's funny because on Liz's shirt, Venus looks slightly bigger than the Earth.
I guess it does a little bit. Here's the Venus.
Yeah.
And there's
you got to contact the publisher about that one.
I mean, it's very similar in size. Look at the little moon there.
I like the moon. Anyway, sorry, Mike.
It's day. Well, the amount of time it takes to go around the sun once, so its year is 225 Earth days.
Okay, so a little shorter year, because obviously it's closer to the sun.
The amount of time it takes for it to spin once on its axis for the Earth, 24 hours long. For Venus, 243 Earth days. So its day is longer than its year.
Yeah, that's a long... God, that's a lot. Some of the Mondays feel like that, though.
Yeah.
Man.
So the time between the sun rising and setting, 117 Earth days.
I mean...
That's a long time.
Whew.
But the temperature is only roughly 850 to 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
Only!
That's not bad.
You know what that means?
It's doable.
You know what that means, everybody?
What does
I'm
that
waiting
mean?
for it.
I'm so
You know what
excited.
that means?
What does it mean?
That means you could cook a large pizza in 9 seconds.
In 9 seconds.
Bada boom! Yeah.
I was hoping you would do it.
It's called fast food right there. But you know why you should never cook a pizza or anything on Venus?
Why's that?
You're gonna cook yourself at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
jumping in the kiln with the pizza is not usually the outcome.
It has a
that-
tilt. Its tilt is only 3 degrees, though. The Earth's tilt is 23 degrees.
Oh, so not very exaggerated seasons then, or
No seasons.
no
Or-
seasons.
No seasons.
No seasons.
In fact, that temperature, we'll say 900 degrees, that's day or night.
It's just always hot.
It is always
It's
hot.
one hot bitch.
It's hot enough to melt lead. That's how hot it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
extremely hot.
Yeah. So, not an easy planet for exploration
No.
at all.
No, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
It does go through phases. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on.
From our
but
perspective.
From our perspective, yes, it does go through phases. And from going from a new phase to, quarter, full, third quarter, back to a new phase takes 584 days.
Damn.
Wow.
To go
Venus
through all
days
the
or Earth
phases.
days?
Those are Earth days.
Earth days. Everything is in Earth days.
I know, but that'd be 500 years. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's just interesting how, I mean, Venus is what, 93 minus 67. What's that? Quickly, math, do it.
25.
So it's only 25 million miles closer to the sun than we
27,
are,
28, yeah.
and in the scheme of things, I mean, that's not really that big of a difference. Yet, and it's it's being similar in size and composition. I mean, it's such a drastically different planet from the Earth, and had drastically different things affect its evolution throughout the history of the solar system. That it's very interesting that you have something that could be very Earth-like, but is so diametrically not Earth-like.
Right, and yeah, so it's the big question is why.
Yeah.
We don't really know why, but I mean we have some ideas. But we have a spacecraft that have been looking into that question, and there's a spacecraft there right now that is meant to be looking into that question.
Oh, is there?
But Mars?
I know this.
It's not Mars. Fucking Mars.
Fucking get out of here, Mars!
Venus has a very thick atmosphere. It's mainly carbon dioxide. 96.5% is carbon dioxide.
Okay, see, guys, look, if you got issues with climate change, look at fucking Venus and what a lot of carbon dioxide does to a planet.
No, because it's closer to the sun. That's why it's hot. Come on, Liz.
Oh,
It's science.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
3.5% is nitrogen.
Oh, okay.
So the rest is just
We got some nitrogen in there. Okay.
stuff.
Just a death.
Very little.
Just.
I mean, it's mainly just carbon dioxide.
Suffocating. It's a suffocating.
It's mostly just old blood in the atmosphere. Boiling old blood.
The clouds, the beautiful clouds of Venus, sulfuric acid.
Yay! I love sulfuric acid, Rain. You know what? My hot toddy, I was going to add a few drops of sulfuric acid just to make it a little realistic, add the Venusian element to it. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, I don't want to die.
That's a good name for your second drink. Sulfuric acid.
Okay. Gold Rush is now sulfuric acid. Which, I mean, alcohol is technically a poison, so... Yeah,
that's true. That is, well, yeah, too much of it, yes.
Yeah, I mean...
anything's a poison in large amounts.
That's true.
That atmosphere, though, that blanket of an atmosphere is quite heavy. Its mass is 92 times the Earth's atmosphere.
Wait, yeah, okay.
The mass.
The mass of the atmosphere is 92 times the mass of the Earth's atmosphere. So,
right.
Yeah, it's like an extra weighted blanket.
Yes. But the pressure, what you feel, the weight of that atmosphere is 93 times the Earth's pressure, atmospheric pressure, which is the same as being 5/8 of a mile below the surface or of the ocean.
Of the ocean?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Or 1 kilometer.
So, crushing. So, not only do you just get burnt up to a crisp as if you've been breathed on by Smaug.
Oh my God.
But you get crushed to death as well by
that's
the atmospheric pressure.
That's like the same amount of pressure that dogs give you when you're putting on shoes. Like, oh, it's a walk time? We gotta go.
Yeah,
so much pressure.
Yeah, Leia's pressure. Reaction, as soon as I put socks on, Leia's like, oh!
That pressure's greater, actually. The atmosphere, the winds in the upper atmosphere is about 200 miles an hour.
Hello.
So hurricane force winds.
God,
however,
wind
at
PTSD
the surface,
would not do well.
They're only a few miles an hour. But there's an interesting fact about that. But before we get there, those winds, they are amazing at transferring heat from one part of the planet to another part of the planet. That is why the night side is the same temperature as the day side. Because the winds will take it to the night side.
What causes the winds?
Now, that... Similar question to Liz that we don't expect Mike to know, but we're asking me all these things. So on Mars they have lots of wind, but the atmosphere is so thin you don't really feel it that much. But on Venus there's so much air, when you feel
of all that pressure,
more.
right? Because it has a thicker atmosphere.
So the winds winds on Mars, 100 miles an hour, is like getting hit with a feather pillow. Okay, yeah, like getting hit with a feather pillow. On Venus. It's only a few miles an hour at the surface, but just ignoring the heat, ignoring being able to stand up.
Okay.
Sure.
Ignoring everything else that could kill you.
That slow wind hits you with such force, it is extremely difficult to walk. You might not even be able to walk in it. Against the wind.
You know what? I do have one of the things I would love to try one day, which I would have the opportunity to do. I don't know where, but like get in front of those big like wind turbines or something they use in like Hollywood or something to simulate and like try to power through.
Oh yeah, you can do that in Oklahoma. Just stand outside.
But I don't want to be in a hurricane. I don't want to be in a I want to be in a safe, controlled environment.
God, so I remember in Oklahoma, there were some days I literally had to lean into the wind just to get into the office building. It was so difficult.
Wow.
Ugh.
Wow. So, yeah, as Katie says in chat, Venus be wild.
Venus be wild.
Venus be thick, Venus be wild.
Venus gone wild. Venus gone wild.
So,
remember those days?
Is that why Venus is so blurry in the pictures?
In the atmosphere, there's these dark regions in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
They're called blue absorbers.
Oh, like your drink.
Yeah, we don't know what's causing them, but they absorb a lot of the ultraviolet light. In fact, they absorb, it's something like half the heat, 2/3 the heat, the heat energy that the planet gets. Is absorbed in these blue absorbers. They don't know what they're made out of.
And it's in the atmosphere.
It's in the atmosphere.
Like, are they like pockets? Like they're just like
they're
small
like
areas?
Little streaks. I mean, you can see them.
Okay.
Okay. There are these
Are
dark
they the
streaks
areas in the
clouds.
pictures that do they look darker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's them. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're called blue absorbers, and they don't know what the hell they are.
We should call them blueies.
Blue. So they absorb ultraviolet light. There's some questions as to what they are. Is it like some sort of iron dust kind of thing? Is it life? There's actually we actually did,
but high up in the atmosphere, yes.
but high up in the atmosphere, we did a podcast talking about the life of Venus on Venus. So you can check that out. But I believe it had to do with this. But you know, as hot as Venus is, about 30 miles up, 50 kilometers, the temperatures drop to about 86 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
that's completely reasonable.
Nice.
Yeah, and the pressure is similar to what we have on Earth's surface. So this could accommodate extremophiles.
Like water bears.
Or Phoenicians.
Or Phoenicians. Yeah, that's exactly the weather that any Phoenician is, or anybody that lives in, like, you know, near a desert. I mean,
you
like
can make yourself a real
is hot.
Yeah, make yourself a real fine cloud city up there.
Yeah, there you go.
Now the reference.
It is totally.
No, because it's just literally city in the cloud city. It's not the
Cloud City. It's Cloud City.
It's not capitalized.
Knowing us,
not a proper noun.
Knowing us, it would be capitalized. Although the space law is. All
right. Venus has lightning. That is controversial, though.
It's controversial that it has lightning. Do we not have direct evidence? Or
we don't have direct evidence.
We don't have direct evidence.
You have indirect evidence that you can infer that there is lightning that caused it. But
we haven't observed like these charged particles.
We haven't observed the flashes. You haven't observed the flashes.
They come in quick. They come in hot.
Come in hot.
There we go.
So, you know, there's some debate as to whether or not there's actual real lightning in Venus' atmosphere.
Most of the planets that have thick atmospheres seem to have lightning.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of that friction going on there. It's going to cause it static.
We've observed it with Jupiter and Saturn. I mean, there's aurora on Jupiter and Saturn as well.
Yeah.
I mean, does Venus? I don't know if you're going to mention that. Oh, okay. I won't say anything. All right, you know where I'm going.
Talk about magnetic sphere.
It's a magnetic field. Yeah.
If you were actually on the surface, ignoring whether you could actually do that,
all death properties.
It would be similar to an overcast day on Earth.
It's not bad. Those are my favorite days.
But you would never see the sun.
No.
And the color would be different than the overcast day.
Yeah.
So later on, we're going to talk about Venus and science fiction and stuff. And there's a short story that I read when I was in school about Venus, like elementary school.
Oh.
And it was so sad.
Oh.
And so, but I will get into that later.
Because maybe I know it.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. So,
I read a sad story
very
about
thick atmosphere. Up underneath that atmosphere is terrain. You know, land.
Well, it is a rocky world. It's a terrestrial planet. It doesn't have a surface, unlike the gas giants that do not have a surface.
The features on that terrain are named for women, real and mythological. There's only 3
real women.
Not.
Oh, wait. Say that again.
Real women. Mythological women.
Mythological women and real women.
Yes, named for real women and mythological women, except for 3 objects that are not.
Oh, okay.
They go by the name of Alpha and Beta, which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
And Maxwell Montez, which is the tallest mountain on there, named for Maxwell, the physicist.
Right. So the tallest mountain on the planet. The tallest mountain, still.
Well, you know what? Long
named
live
after
patriarchy.
a guy. Jesus. God, kid.
Well, it was one of the first things that was discovered, and
naturally, then it's got it's the tallest thing. It's got the biggest dick. Let's name it after a dude.
But it does have some pretty large features on it. Ishtar Terra, which is an Australia-sized highland, which is at the North Pole. Aphrodite Terra, which is a South America-sized region, which is at the equator. So these are very large. The surface is also very young.
Yes.
So how do we know that? When we look at the surface of Mars, and we'll get into how we do that, we don't see many craters at all. In fact, I think maybe only the Earth has fewer craters than Venus does. Owing to the fact three-fourths of the Earth is ocean.
Yeah.
But also, we got a lot of weathering that takes care of things as well.
Yes.
But we don't see a lot of craters, which is indicative of a younger surface. And the thought is that the surface is only 150 million years old. And that is very young. And and that young surface is due to volcanoes and tectonic surfaces. And Venus resurfaces itself every 250 to 300 million years.
Wow.
That's how much.
So it still has, I mean, if being similar in size of the Earth, I mean, I would assume then that it still has a churning molten, its core isn't cooled down all the way, because we have a churning molten core.
Right.
Still, it hasn't cooled. So then there is volcanism then that is still occurring to then resurface that planet. And tectonic activity, do we know if it has like plates like we do?
Well, tectonic forces. I don't think that necessarily means
just like
volcanism. I don't believe it has plates. Plates are a whole another topic, which are fun to talk about.
Okay, because I've never heard of any other planet, a terrestrial planet, having plates like the Earth does.
And the history, the theories behind tectonic plates are really fascinating too. But that's not a right now topic.
Okay, that could be a hangover topic
So, 150 million years ago, when it started getting resurfaced...
Yes, hold on. What was going on the Earth 150 million years ago?
I was about ready to give you that. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I was... All right, so in the dinosaurs...
I heard the whistle.
Was that the whistle? I heard a slight little...
Yeah, that was a little whistle, not the big whistle, a little one.
A little whistle. All right, so take a drink.
They have 3 types of whistles. Anyway,
Venus has mountains and valleys and a shit ton of volcanoes. Resurface the whole surface. The highest mountain, Maxwell Montez, is as tall as Everest.
Wow. It's really interesting because, and I know you're going to talk about like spacecrafts that have landed and our imaging, right, of Venus. But it's so hard to get the sense of scale when looking at images of Venus. When we're looking at the radar images of the surface, we'll explain that later. But you don't get a sense of like the relief and the scale of the surface features.
And that's why I love like the one picture we have of the surface so much.
Yeah.
The surface features obviously are, the valleys and the volcanoes and stuff. They have things they call pancakes.
Yes.
Which have flat tops, steep sides, and are formed by highly viscous lava.
There's a smiley face. There's a smiley face.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's a smiley face pancake. You just Google smiley face on Venus, and I'm sure it'll come up.
And another reason why these things are pancake shaped is because of the weight of the atmosphere. So it's not like you can have these explosive events. You can. A volcano could go boom, but that lava doesn't go far because the weight of the atmosphere
is flattening it into a pancake. How does
I wonder,
mountain as tall as Everest then?
Lots of time building up in a single location with no plate tectonics.
It's like layers.
All right. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. What were you going to say, Brandon?
I was curious how ejecta operates with the high pressure on Venus, because here on Earth or even Mars, the ejecta can fly out around the other side of the planet. The impact's big enough. But on Venus, I imagine impact will be slightly different with the ejecta being flung out from the impact.
Well, Newton's laws are still Newton's laws.
Yeah.
And so when you shoot something, it is the simplest case is to ignore air resistance, right? And they do try to make bullets and shit. to where
aerodynamic
to where you can really minimize that. However, though, you do have to take in air resistance. And ejecta from volcanoes is not exactly aerodynamic. And so it has a larger cross section than, say, a bullet would. And it's going to experience more air resistance. And so it's not going to go as far. So to get an ejecta to go all the way across Venus to the other side of the planet, that is a forceful explosion.
What?
God, I'm not going to make it through this.
That makes me wonder what, like, and I don't want this to happen or
Did I answer your question, Brandon?
Well, I was talking more about ejected from impact, but volcanism, same principle.
It's the same, yeah. But I wonder what okay, nuclear weapons are not great. We don't like them, but I mean the mushroom cloud is beautiful in a perspective. But like I wonder then what the difference of the mushroom, like a nuclear weapon explosion, would look like on Venus. It would be
like a portobello mushroom.
Okay.
I mean, all right. So the initial blast is going to thin out the atmosphere a bit, but the atmosphere is going to come back in,
and then the wind's going to clear a lot of that out too pretty quickly, I'd imagine.
Right. So when you see,
you can do it.
Man, like so when you see a nuclear blast, they have.
Hopefully you don't.
Yeah. So they have video. And it's usually this house, and it's got the trees that are near it.
Yeah, they're like...
And you see the trees, the trees go this way, to let's say to the right. It doesn't matter. And then almost immediately, and the house blows to the right as well, and almost immediately the trees go back to the left, and the house blows back to the left. That is the air pushing through and then going... I don't like a vacuum, boom, and it pushes back. And so, whereas, like, the blast is going to thin out the atmosphere, it's going to quickly kind of return. Your cloud is going to be, mushroom cloud's going to be flat.
What weirdly, this would be a good visualization. So in the movie Pacific Rim, they detonate the nuclear warhead underwater, and it clears all the water out. And then the water rushes back in really fast. Yeah. So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Guillermo del Toro.
There are these features called ticks, which are odd volcanoes with veins that resemble the little bloodsuckers.
Less Lyme disease, though. But still more death.
All right. So tesserae?
Okay.
These are grooves and ridges that suggest, quote, scorching temperatures make rock behave in some ways more like peanut butter beneath a thin and strong chocolate layer on Venus.
Oh,
okay. Where is that quote from?
NASA.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Making Venus delicious. Peanut butter beneath a strong chocolate layer.
I know, right?
And then when you get the magma, the lava out there, then you can add some strawberry to it.
Hey,
yeah.
All right, so you brought up magnetic field.
Yes.
You're talking about aurora. Venus doesn't have aurora. Unfortunately, that'd be cool.
It's just that its atmosphere is too...
Well,
you don't see it.
It doesn't really have... All right, so it doesn't have an internally generated magnetic field.
Oh, so it doesn't have a churning core. A churning layer outside the core.
Because it spins so slowly.
Yeah.
The core doesn't churn like the Earth. And so it doesn't. Now, it does have a magnetic field, though. That magnetic field, though, is not from its own making. It's from the sun.
This is so close, yeah.
Yeah, so, sort of.
What?
Well,
sort
of. Yeah.
Okay.
So, the sun has... All right. Venus in its atmosphere, like the Earth, has a region where the ultraviolet radiation basically strips off a bunch of electrons, and you have all these little ions. It's called the ionosphere. Venus has that as well.
Okay.
And so it has this magnetic field. It has this ionosphere with all these little charged particles, ions, stuff. Streaming past Venus is the ever-present solar wind, which is a bunch of charged particles These charged particles kind of carry the sun's magnetic field with it a little bit, and the interactions between that solar wind and the ionosphere induces a magnetic field around Venus. It's a very thin and not very strong
Tenuous?
magnetic field, but it is there.
Okay.
And it's not really going to make aurora.
Okay,
It probably would make a few, but you're not going to see it.
Right.
And it's that induced magnetic field is shaped also by the solar wind. So the solar wind induces it, makes it for Venus, but it also shapes it into a teardrop shape.
Neat.
Okay.
And so,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So Venus, because it spins so slowly, doesn't really make its own magnetic field.
Okay.
Even though it might have a...
Now, it spins slowly because it's spinning backwards, right?
Oh,
like
shit.
it got-
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, it
Maybe we will. I mean, we kinda
okay.
will,
Like
but...
it possibly got hit by something. Suffered a large impact. You know, in the early days of the solar system, and that fucked its spin up.
Okay,
'Cause
well...
it spins backwards, so that slowed it down, so it can't.
Well, there's okay.
Maybe.
Mike, go.
Okay.
So, here's the main thought. So, let's take a look at the Earth.
Yes.
Let's
look at it. Everybody look at it. Close your eyes. Visualize the planet Earth.
Or just look down.
So, the Earth is slowly slowing down.
Yes.
We have to have this leap second every once in a while.
Yeah, we got a lot of drag from the moon there.
Right.
Looking.
So, the moon pulls the oceans, creates those
What?
tides.
Tides? How do they work?
We don't know. This is God.
It's a
Tides
series of
go in,
tubes.
tides go out.
Just like magnets. You don't know.
That's our second Bill O'Reilly reference today.
Is
I
it?
think
Oh, right. Yes.
Brandon had one before the podcast. Anyway, so the Earth's spinning fast enough to where the Earth can pull those tides in front of the moon. So the moon pulls on the tides, and it makes it kind of act like a brake, and it slows us down a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Friction.
What?
Friction.
Yeah, friction. Let's go to Venus.
Okay.
Venus has a very thick atmosphere. That atmosphere, like the tides, serves as friction with Venus spinning beneath it. And so they think that the atmosphere played a significant role in slowing it down. Not so much from an impact, but from the atmosphere.
And that...
It's also closer to the sun.
And
so
that atmosphere, though, being thick and formed from the just enormous amount of volcanism that it had in the early days of the solar system.
Yeah.
It.
And isn't it not just spinning back, but isn't the entire planet upside down?
It is. We'll get into
Yeah.
that. We'll
get into
that.
We'll get into it, people.
So
Stick with us.
Let's talk about observations. Now I gotta be quick. Gotta go fast.
Why?
Because
We're on Venus time here. Time doesn't matter on Venus.
that's true.
Unless you just can't talk because you're going to start coughing very
Oh my
soon.
gosh. It's
Time.
probably the latter. Anyway, you know, we can see Venus with our own two eyes, but the first time we saw it through a telescope was in 1610. Galileo Galilei saw it with a telescope. He noticed it went through phases, and those phases were in such a way that Venus had to go around the sun and not the Earth.
So it was closer to the sun than the Earth, which means that Copernicus was right. Ha-ha!
Right, but it got him into a little bit of trouble.
Well, yeah, the church doesn't like to fuck.
Well, he was also an asshole about it, but we have a whole Galileo episode.
I mean,
to
but
listen
he
to it.
should be an asshole about it. But yeah, we do. Check out our Galileo episode.
30 years later, roughly, December 4th, 1639, transit of Venus. Jeremiah Horrocks predicted the transit, and it came true. And he and a buddy, William Crabtree, went out and observed it.
The transit of Venus, by the way, is just when we observe Venus passing in front of the sun, and so we can see it's a transit.
Could you imagine, like, we're hanging out together and we have this idea, hey, what if Venus transit the suns? And, like, us and our buddies here, we just go and observe it and just make history because we're sitting on the couch thinking about it.
I know,
cool.
right?
That'd be really cool.
Oh, man.
Like, it was interesting the days where you can just kind of do that and make history.
I know, right? Ah.
They were English, I believe. Johann. No, I'm sorry.
So Johann
Gotta
Bach.
have myself. 1761. Mikhail Lomonosov. Russia.
Mexican.
Discovered Venus's atmosphere. So it's the first time that we discovered its atmosphere. Johann Schroeder, who was German in 1790, also observed the atmosphere, as well as Chester Smith Lyman. In physics, you have things called Lyman lines.
Any relation to Josh?
What?
I don't know who Josh Lyman is.
It's a solid reference. Anyway, keep going.
Okay.
Giovanni Cassini calculated Saturn's rotation to be 24 hours. He was wrong.
He was, Cassini. Stick to
He was
Saturn,
only wrong
bud.
by 500 days or something like that.
Well, 243 days, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a long rotation. I mean, who's going to guess
off
that?
by a factor of 243.
You know.
Nothing more of note until the 20th century, basically.
Oh, really? Nothing more on Venus of note.
Right.
Until the 1900s.
Right.
We go from, I'm sorry, what was that last date? The 1700s.
Because
the end of the 1700s until the 1900s.
Because if you think about it, we only had optical telescopes until the 1900s. So that's all we could see it with.
That's true, and you can't see through the thick atmosphere of Venus. You can't
but
really...
it's still funny to think 200 years. Like, it's there.
Yeah.
We know most things about it. And even
fine.
in the 1900s to 1950s, as Mike will get into, we still
Early 1900s, Vesto Slifer.
I love that
cool
name.
We've talked about Vesto before, and that's just a cool ass fucking name, like Rip Torn.
Yeah, associated with
It's the coolest name ever is Rip Torn.
The Lawrence, what's the observatory? Lowell Observatory. Associated with the Lowell Observatory.
Ah, good old Lowell.
Yeah, he was there.
Up in Flagstaff.
He was up in.
Check it out.
Anyway, he tried to measure the rotation of Venus using Doppler, and couldn't do it. So he surmised it must have a much slower rotation than previously thought.
Which it does.
Nice.
It does.
Too slow for Doppler.
Yep. Frank Ross, 1920.
American?
I believe so.
Sounds American. Just
Sounds
sounds like an
American,
American name.
I'm an American.
It's not a fancy name.
It's what's the word I want to use? Give me my jet lag brain a second. It is unimaginative.
Yeah, okay.
First ultraviolet images, and it showed a lot more detail than visible and infrared images.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that sulfuric acid reflects a lot of ultraviolet light.
Yeah. Fast forward to the 1950s is when we first discovered that the rotation was retrograde.
Hey, we're like, wait a minute.
Retrograde.
This shit is going
backwards.
This is weird.
So,
unconventional, just like women.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, well done. Everything should be rotating the same direction.
Yeah, because
so
the
when you
solar
find
nebula was rotating one way, so everything that formed within it is rotating in that same way, unless acted upon by an outside force.
Right. So
Liz just made a new dance.
This is the solar nebula dance.
All right. See now, all right. When we discover something that's rotating backwards, then it. So the question is, did it form with everything else rotating backwards and violate every law of physics that we know?
I mean, it's possible.
Really, it's just one conservation of angular momentum, but whatever.
It's a big one. That's a big one, though.
Kind of a.
Or did something happen?
Something happened.
Something
happened. It's Occam's razor. Something fucking happened.
Yeah. The simplest explanation is that Venus was hit and tipped it over on its side.
I mean, most things in the solar system have been hit by shit because the early solar system was a very chaotic place with a lot of shit flying around. Yeah.
So I do want to point out, though, that you do not have to have a direct hit. You can have what's called a gravitational collision, which is an object that gets close enough to it where it just the interaction just flips it, which is a bad day for anybody on Venus. It's a bad day no matter what. So, you know, it's
quick little tangent. There is a theory that's been thoroughly debunked, but there was a theory there early 1900s that a lot of the gas giants actually flung off from the sun. So Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune flung out from the sun because it made a gas. So as it flung out, they would pass like Venus, and the gravity would completely flip it on its side, and that was one of the points behind this theory. Completely wrong.
Yeah, because then that would happen to all the planets, right?
Or just the one that passes.
And also
by
the sun is primarily its outer surface is surface. I say not as a surface, but it's plasma, not gas. So,
Like we said, it's a very wrong theory.
Yeah, but it's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So in the 1950s, and prior to the 1950s, Venus was thought of as a tropical paradise.
This is my favorite time in Venusian history. Is the 1950s.
When Venus was just like a Hawaii on steroids.
Yeah, I mean they thought it's a little closer to the sun, so
it's a little hotter.
It's just a little warmer.
Yeah, a little balmy. The thick atmosphere keeps in the humidity, so it's going to be like Hawaii.
Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, it's about the same size as the Earth, so clearly it probably has oceans.
So,
and the same mass as the Earth as well.
Grab the Beach Boys.
It was favored over Mars to harbor life at this point in 1950s. Like I thought for sure there'd be life out there in Venus.
I mean, it makes sense.
And when we get into Venus and sci-fi,
hell yeah,
you're gonna see a definite turn.
It's a slow turn because it's Venus.
I mean, it really is very All right, so we're like, hey, we have the technology. Let's send shit there.
Yeah.
And
fuck yeah.
The Soviet Union, now known as Russia, in 1961, sent Venera 1, which is just a venereal disease to me. It was the first
venereal. Obviously that has its. Okay, all right.
It is the first interplanetary space flight. But we lost contact with it, and we, the Russians, lost contact with it en route.
I love the mirroring between Venus and Mars as far as space probes go out there, because the USSR really focused on Venus, whereas the United States really focused on Mars, and we had similar successes and failures on both of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, space is hard, as we say.
Yeah, makes me happy.
We get in the act in 1962, December 14th, with a flyby of Mariner 2. Mm-hmm. It went 21,600 miles, which is 34,800 kilometers above the surface, and it made measurements of the atmosphere.
Yeah. That's all I could see is the atmosphere.
Venera 3, 1966, crash landed on Venus and returned no data.
Yeah, because it crashed.
Venera 4.
Hold on.
Soviet Union, 1967, deployed science experiments in the atmosphere before crashing onto the surface. But it found the temperature was hotter than Mariner 2 observed, and the atmosphere density at the surface was far greater than expected.
Boys. Oh, shit.
No more balmy temperatures.
Yes. No, not a tropical paradise.
In one of the first examples of sharing data, the Venera 4 and Mariner 5 data were combined
sharing
and studied
data between the Soviet Union and the U.S. We
can
all get along, everybody. See?
And over the next year, they did various science talks and science talks.
Colloquials.
Yeah, those.
Colloquial. There's a word.
All right, whatever.
We have brains.
Venera 7. Soviet Union, December 15th, 1970, first soft landing on another planet.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Okay, everybody out there, because this is a podcast and I'm too lazy for the video edition if you're watching this on YouTube to put the pictures in. Google Venera 7 Venus images. Holy shit. Like these are images on Venus's surface.
And then I don't know what Mike's going to talk about, so I'll let him finish his topic, and then I will jump in if he doesn't mention it.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, it was the first soft landing on another planet. I'm
not there yet. Okay, don't Google Venera 7.
It sent data back to the Soviet Union for 53 minutes. 20 minutes of that 53 minutes was on the surface.
And it's just the robot screaming in pain.
Yes, and it found the temperature of 887 degrees Fahrenheit, a pressure of 1,320 pounds per square inch.
Now remember.
Yes.
Okay, so Venus is very hot. The technologies that we have for these spacecrafts is they're made of metal that can melt in hot temperatures.
Yes.
So basically, the spacecrafts melted
Yeah, very much.
And they could not. They melted on the
components
surface.
melt.
It's the opposite of Mars.
Well, I imagine
melted.
the spacecraft itself probably lasted longer than the silicon chips inside. I'd
Well,
assume.
yeah. The imaging
I actually don't know the melting
technologies.
point of silicon, but I assume it's less
But
than.
okay, so the next one, I got too excited.
question.
I got too ahead of myself. The next one is what you want to Google for the images.
Arecibo?
No, Venera 9.
Okay, but that is not the next one.
Okay, I missed that bullet point.
So
Jesus Christ! Sorry. The melting point of silicon is really high.
Okay,
Ignore me.
So it's not the silicone melting.
All right, so Arecibo, late 70s.
This is why Cosmos with Cosmos.
Arecibo, rest in peace, was a large radar radio dish in Puerto Rico.
Oh, the same Arecibo?
Yes.
Oh, God, it hurts.
It was the first to use radar to see the surface, saw two highly reflective regions called Alpha and Beta. So that's where those names came from. And also saw Maxwell Montez, which had already been named at that point. Venera 9 and 10, 1975.
Okay,
first black and white images from the surface.
Okay. Google these images because it's amazing. But like you look at these images and it looks like it could be from Earth. Like the rocks and everything, they look like they could still be from Earth. And what's interesting though is that also Google Huygens.
And that's the lander that was on Titan.
Huygens.
Huygens.
It landed on Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, and it's a dried up riverbed, and you see pebbles that you could find in a dried up riverbed on Earth.
But these pebbles, are you talking about
Huygens, Titan.
Made of ice.
Made of ice, yes.
Which are harder than steel.
Yes, but the images from Venus, it's I don't know, because it looks so terrestrial, it looks so familiar, but then you look at it and you think, okay, these are images from a different planet, these are images from Venus, and it's mind-blowing.
Right.
And it's amazing, and I wish my in-person eyeballs could see them in person without dying.
I absolutely love these images. You can see the same thing on Mars, and you see how Earth-like those can be. But one of my favorite things, and Liz, Mike, and myself, and really any person you see on TV would do this. When they get very excited about describing something, they kind of lean forward a little bit and back. They rock slightly. It's true, and that's exactly what Liz just did.
It's just,
That's how you know we're excited. Is we lean forward, but then we also try to rock our whole bodies.
It's just a weird human thing.
So
for all the aliens that are watching or listening to our podcast, this is just what humans do. I'm sorry if it's weird.
All right, so for aliens, psychology thing they can do later. All right, Pioneers, U.S. Pioneer Venus Project, 1978 to 1992. 2 probes, Pioneer multiprobe, Pioneer Venus.
Can I cut in? We haven't had anything land on the surface of Venus since Venera.
I will tell you.
All right.
It's complicated.
Okay, Venera 13 and 14, 1982, also Soviet. First color images of the surface. Okay, that was...
Mike hates us so much right now.
Now, before the show, I was like, hey, remember, we're going to be interjecting, and we got things and jokes and whatever. You gotta just... we have to have a conversation.
I have had a conversation.
No, you can't get annoyed by us.
Every episode that Mike
leaves,
time. We interject him constantly.
I have given you so much time.
Take a drink every time you feel like Mike's annoyed by us.
15 and 16. Also Soviet Union, 1983, 1984. Mapped 25% of the surface. Ooh. The last of the Venera missions.
Oh, man.
All right. But the Soviet Union was not done. 1985, the Vega missions occurred.
I came, I arrived, I conquered, I'm here. I'm here now.
Vega 1 and Vega 2, the last entry missions for Venus, where they go down to the surface. These actually were the first to deploy craft flying craft on another planet. They deployed inflatable balloons.
Before Mars?
Before Mars.
Before the bouncy balls of spirit and opportunity? Were they bouncy balls, or were they just like...
No, these were balloons that went in the atmosphere.
Oh,
Not the bouncies,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, not the bouncy balls. Okay,
No,
they were just like balloons.
Was before the helicopter.
Okay, they were just like, let's put some balloons in.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know how long the balloons lasted?
He's about to get into it. I thought he was.
I didn't know. I don't know.
I mean, I can't imagine they would last long with the pressure and temperature.
The U.S. is not done now.
Oh, no, we're never done. Have you met us?
1990 to 1994, the Magellan spacecraft.
Ooh, radar imaging?
Yeah, so the Magellan spacecraft, this mission was to map the surface and measure the gravitational field.
Oh my god.
It was a mission of first. It was the first spacecraft launched from the space shuttle.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes, it was also the first to use the inertial upper stage booster, which is a two-stage solid fuel launch system developed by Boeing.
Oh, remember when Boeing cared more about profits?
Didn't care about profits. Yeah, so I mean, it's a whole thing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, we watched the John Oliver on Boeing.
Anyway,
you should, and you would.
I know all about it.
Yeah.
Magellan was the first also to test aerobraking as a means to circularize the
God, I
climate.
love aerobraking so much.
Okay, now Magellan was the first to get radar imaging, right?
Well,
Right. Yeah, that was his whole mission.
I also feel Mike wants to talk about aerobraking because it's really fucking cool.
Well, yeah, so I mean, it's all right.
You talk about aerobraking, and then I'm gonna get excited about radar imaging.
Okay.
Go.
All right, so you have a spacecraft. Spacecraft has to leave the Earth to go where the fuck it's going.
Yes. Step one: leave the Earth.
Yes, which means you gotta build up a lot of speed.
Yes, escape velocity.
Coming in hot.
So
Coming out hot.
So you're going out hot, but when you get to Venus, in this particular case, you're coming in hot.
Yeah.
You got to slow down.
Right.
So how do you do that? Well, there's you can take propellant with you and use that to burn rocket fuel
in the opposite direction.
In the opposite direction that you're going, it will slow you down. Okay. You do it for a certain amount of time. It's usually multiple burns, probably not just one burn.
Lots of NAF involved.
But it will put you in a circular orbit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or what you could do is utilize the planet itself. Venus has a very thick atmosphere.
Is this like Fast and the Furious?
You come in at a certain angle, and you hit the atmosphere. Has to be a certain angle.
And then you slide around.
Well, what it does is the atmosphere it slows you down. That friction, as you're going through the atmosphere, you're hitting all the atmospheric particles, right? It slows you down. It causes friction. Slows you down. You lose speed, and you end up in a circular. Eventually, end up in a circular orbit.
It's like you're drifting around.
Now, long time listeners of the show will know in the first few episodes, Mike and I would constantly reference Red Mars to the point where Liz would make a drink game out of it, and Mike and I are both rereading Red Mars.
Yes, we are.
So, when the Ares, the giant ship they use to get to Mars, gets there, they slow down by aerobraking.
It's called doing your research as an author.
And it's within 1,000th of a degree, so it has to be very precise.
It's
not like it's like you get close enough and we're going to use this to slow down. No, if you're too close, you will plummet to your death. If you're too far off again, you'll skip off of the atmosphere like you're afraid Apollo 13 would do.
Yes.
So it's a precise.
It's a very precise operation.
Movement. Okay.
Precise.
Magellan was the first to do it. And
Magellan also was the first to get radar images of the surface of Venus. So using radar, think of sonar, where you have you're sending a signal down that bounces off the surface, and the amount of time it takes to get back, you can then see the elevations and everything of the surface. So when you see pictures of Venus and you see them and they're kind of like a yellow, orangey color, and you're seeing all these features, those are the radar images of Venus's surface.
And they're also false color.
they're a false color. They're not obviously the actual color that we would see with our eyes. Whereas there are pictures of Venus that just show the atmosphere and the cloud tops and everything like that. But when you're seeing, you can see the pancake structures, and you can see these kind of like lava flow lines and everything that's on the surface. The smiley face on Venus, that is from radar imaging. So using radar to see what the surface, pierce the clouds, to look through the clouds, because otherwise we cannot see through the clouds, the atmosphere of Venus. We cannot visually with our eyeballs see the surface of Venus. We need special technology in order to see what the surface actually looks like, and so far we do not have the technology, or haven't developed the technology, or haven't used the technology to have a spacecraft that is able to withstand the high temperatures and pressures that are on the surface of Venus. So this is our method of being able to study the surface, is by using radar technology. And these pictures of Venus through radar imaging is, to me, like my favorite thing about looking at Venus. They're fantastic to be able to see these features that we normally wouldn't be able to see.
Right.
Yes.
At large global features.
Hi.
And that's where we're seing globally not a lot of craters. This must be
and
a
we
young
can see
surface.
the resurfacing. We can see like these like lava flows. In fact, I think it was recently that it was like, oh, there's been recent lava flows, which indicates that Venus somewhat has still an active core.
I feel like that was the last 3 years. It was probably the last 6 years. But I remember hearing about
recent.
that.
Yeah,
It's very recent that we're like, oh, Venus still has some volcanic
anything
activity.
within like 6 million years. That's super recent.
True. True.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Just Magellan really kind of changed like how we.
Is Venus the closest planet to us?
Yeah. Yes and no.
Well, depending on where we are in our orbits.
Yes.
When it is at its closest,
yes,
it is.
Mm-hmm.
30 million miles, whatever. But Mercury actually spends more time closer to us than Venus does.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it zips around real fast, so we're closer to it more often, I assume.
And so Venus is...
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you technically want to count the moon as a planet, which some do, but
No, the moon's not a planet. It's a satellite, because it's not orbiting the sun directly. It's orbiting the Earth, which is orbiting the sun directly. So therefore, the moon is a satellite.
I just really wanted to see that reaction.
There have been other flybys of Venus. Galileo on its way to Jupiter in 1990.
Oh, I didn't know he could get out there.
What?
Nothing. That was
Cassini on its way to Saturn in 1998 and 1999 flew past Venus. Messenger spacecraft in 2006 and 2007 on its way to Mercury.
Yeah.
Flew past
Mercury,
Venus.
I think, is the most underrated planet in the solar system.
I disagree, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Okay.
All right, Icarus, which is a solar sail mission, flew past Venus in 2010.
Importantly to note, not the spacecraft that was sent in the sunshine to restart the sun after it ran out of fuel. Different Icarus.
Yeah, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but great 3/4 for a movie. Fantastic score.
All right, so European Space Agency got involved in 2006 with the Venus Express.
Hell yeah, choo-choo, motherfuckers.
I like that, just Venus Express. Like,
I'm sure it stands for something.
This is a mission that was sent to try to learn and why Venus and Earth diverged in their evolution.
It's like you and Katie in your teenage years. They're so similar, but why did they diverge?
Diverged.
Right, but then they came back at the end.
Then we did come back at the end.
So if you look at Venus is about the size of the Earth. It also has about the same mass as the Earth. In its early days, most likely had oceans.
It could have, yeah. It could have been very similar to the Earth in its early days, and then rampant volcanism fucked it up.
Yes, rampant volcanism. Also, the sun got a little bit. Okay.
Vulcan, yes.
The sun got a little bit hotter, and so there's more energy. The volcanism.
I mean, even though Venus is only 20, whatever we said before, 20 odd million miles closer to the sun than we are. Actually, even though it's a small distance in universe scale, I mean it's a pretty big distance in temperature difference between the sun.
Right. But not really. Also,
okay.
So I mean, it shouldn't be. It should not be anywhere near as hot as it is. It's definitely going to be warmer than the Earth.
Right.
It's not going to be obviously as hot as Mercury because it's 3 times that distance.
Right. It's just that buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
So, I mean, if you look at it, all right, Venus is twice the distance from Mercury is from the sun. It receives 1/4 the sunlight that Mercury receives. If Venus had no atmosphere and Mercury is 800 degrees, that means that Venus would be about 200 degrees or so.
Like the moon.
Roughly, yes.
Okay.
A little warmer than the moon. But that's just rough friggin' ballpark right there. But it's much hotter than that. And so...
that atmosphere.
How did it get so hot? So the volcanism, which you've already alluded to, the volcanoes just popping off all over the place, filling the atmosphere with carbon dioxide, makes any oceans that were there just evaporate.
Yeah, which then a runaway greenhouse effect is what happened. It's a runaway greenhouse.
The water vapor is also a greenhouse gas, but it starts to leach out into space, and you're left with nothing but carbon dioxide. A little bit of nitrogen and just smattering everything else.
Whereas Mars went through a runaway refrigerator effect because of such thin atmosphere, it couldn't hold that heat in.
Right.
I just think a brave little toaster with all these runaway refrigerators.
God, the brave little toaster. Oh, God.
So the Venus Express, it was to try to find out why
this shit happened.
What the
fuck went on?
But also it had another mission.
Which
there was another.
Was it keep it secret?
Home. What?
No, come on.
This other mission was to look back at Earth.
So from Venus?
Yes. When it would look at Earth, the Earth would be about 1 pixel in size, which is about how big an exoplanet might be when you take a picture of it. So its job was to look at Earth and look for signs of life, and you could use that to develop methods to find habitability for exoplanets.
And importantly, they did not look for signs for intelligent life because they would find none.
Exactly. So it gave us an unprecedented study of the atmosphere. Its mission, end of mission, was in 2014. Deorbited in January 2015. So it burned up. It's now part of Venus.
In the Venusian atmosphere.
Yes. The only current mission at Venus right now is the Akatsuki mission.
Akatsuki. It's actually Akatsuki is from the I don't know the meaning, but in the anime Naruto, Akatsuki is in there. Okay. So just
You know what? I will drink to that.
Okay.
All right. So it's Japanese. It's a mission to study the atmosphere. It got there on December 7th, 2015, which is a date in history. It's kind of a small little probe. It's only 5 feet by 3.5 feet by 5 feet.
So it's like
kind of small.
It's kind of all right.
It's about your height.
5'3", so
it's about your height. No, you're 4'5".
I am 5'3.5", sir, and a
Thank
half.
Thank you very much,
sir.
That's a bit. Take a drink.
That was a coughing fit. We'll count that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Honestly, after a coughing fit, you should take a drink.
I'm officially out of drink, so I'm gonna stab my cherry with my cinnamon stick and make a little.
So it's the only one that's there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save Venus and Sci-Fi for The Hangover.
I just wrote that down in my notes.
Okay.
For The Hangover.
I want to know what a Polish donut is, apparently, from Elizabeth.
We can find that out in The Hangover as well. So, where can you find Venus right now? For tonight, probably tonight only. It's in Capricorn.
Nothing to do with your life.
By the time you hear this, it will have moved out. But right now, it's in Capricorn. It's very low, very low in the southeastern part of the sky. So you basically need to be in Iowa to be able to see it where you have good horizons.
Or you don't have anything on your horizon.
Yeah.
This is a flat.
Yeah, and Earth. This is it's low on the southeastern horizon, so that means right before the sun rises.
So get up early, folks, if you got a clear horizon to see Venus. But it, throughout the year, if you notice something that is lower on the horizon before sunrise or after sunset, then there's a good chance that is Venus that you are looking at.
All right. Well, we're going to save Venus in literature for later.
And sci-fi.
Hell yeah.
Sci-fi for The Hangover.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just the human imagination to anything in space is always exciting. But Venus, of course, being Earth's twin and closest to the sun.
There's like a definite there's a definite change in Venus and Sci-Fi, and it's related
to what we learned about Venus.
We'll get to it. So, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Join us in 2 weeks, the 24th of March, where we have High in the Sky for April.
Yeah, we will be on location in Bend, Oregon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
For that episode.
Are we gonna have a podcast?
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
I guess we're committed now.
So we need to remember to bring our podcast.
We're going on the road. So, so join us in. Remember to follow us on all the things. If you're with us now, please stick around.
Stay with us, please.
For
we
the
have commitment issues. Stay with us.
That's God. It sounds like we're just begging, which we kind of are.
Please stay with us. I have no one else.
Sir, can I have another viewer?
All right. Nicely done.
Cheers, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye. Stick around for The Hangover.
Well, I'll tell you, if
right
I had another
now.
drink, I still need to go get food, and I get to walk to food. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do today. Like
Um,
even without the drink, I have no idea how it would be today.
I am starving, and I can't go anywhere. I can't go anywhere for two
Okay.
reasons. I can't go anywhere because I've had 3/4 of a drink. I haven't even had a whole drink. I had 3/4 of a drink.
oh my
Alright,
God,
so-
you haven't drank the whole drink.
Yeah.
Wow.
But also, I can't go to Ray's because I still test positive for COVID.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We live in a rural area where we don't have a DoorDash or a Grubhub or anything like that. We cannot get
so it's-
delivery.
so during this, wait, I have a couple topics to talk about clearly on my notes, but also we can figure out what I'm gonna have for late lunch or early dinner.
All right.
Luckily,
get in
you
this.
can walk places, and you.
I can. I can also order places, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
We ate the dumplings, didn't we?
We ate the pot stickers. We had the pot stickers yesterday for lunch. We ate all of them, and they were delicious.
We have ice cream.
We do. The camera bump was because of a dog, and it was Leia who was laying down on the camera stand.
Excellent.
We have ice cream. We did get Ray's was having a sale. I'm no longer testing positive for COVID.
I need to talk about Korea food.
Oh my God, I can't with your fucking.
I didn't even send you
know.
all the pictures.
I know milk's not good for like mucus and stuff. I have
It's so good for taste buds.
so good for taste
Let's
buds.
get this back on.
But I have a dry cough right now. Anyway, Brandon was in Korea, and the pictures that he fucking sent of his Korean food experience looked like pictures. It was a travel TV show, like Somebody Feed Brandon.
I am so out of it. I didn't know we were back on.
We've been back
we've been
on
back
for a bit. Yeah, it's been at least like
tired.
24 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
I gotta tell you, like when I traveled, my favorite part was the food.
So okay.
Always the food.
Oh yeah, I would
So
love to try it.
I will get into the food and the things and the fantastic people and clearly the soju for those of you on this is only YouTube. So I have 7
Yeah,
bottles of
it's only on
soju
YouTube.
behind me, given to me
Yeah.
as a gift.
Would you
and all-
pack
and
that with your clothes?
In my suitcase, yeah.
Okay.
So I just use I just stick it in the middle of clothes and
Right.
it acts as a dampener. Anyway, so one of my favorite things I did. So I had one day off on the Sunday, but in Gwangju everything's closed on Sunday. So I walked around the city, but everything's closed. So well, shit. Okay. So I go to a store called Lots Max.
Okay.
It's like Walmart. Well, it's not Walmart on steroids. It's just a multi-level store, many things in there. And I walk around, see some food, and I go, you know what? I'm going to get this. And I got a bucket of fried chicken. And I just really wanted it. So I get this bucket of fried chicken. I take it back to my hotel room, and then I have to use YouTube TV because they had 3 channels spoke English on the TV: Discovery Channel, Science Channel, and Smithsonian.
Hey, those good choices.
I mean, yeah.
And so I watched the last day about an hour American Princesses.
Oh.
Which was about like Grace Kelly, for example.
Oh, okay.
These types of people. Anyway,
Yeah.
So I have this bucket of chicken, and on YouTube TV, I put on Anthony Bourdain in Korea.
Oh God.
And as he's doing his thing, I'll get into that. I'm looking at him eating my chicken and go, I'm just like him.
Let's hope it's not the same ending.
Well, no. But in the Korean show, a lot of things he did, I had done previously and will have done later that next week as well. Like, for example, in Korea, it's extraordinarily common for you to go out with your coworkers almost every day after work.
Oh, yeah.
And by go out, I mean, you have some food, but you have the soju.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned, I don't know if this was just them or in general, it's almost impolite to have an empty shot glass in front of you. And the soju is only like 20%. So it's like you can down them for a while and you feel good for a long time. So we fill the shot glasses, Chen. And it's very important that you do not fill your own shot glass. Typically, the youngest person will fill the older people's shot glasses. And when I learned about that, I poured everyone's shot glasses.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they told me, you are now Korean. That's a very Korean thing to do.
You're honorary
so
Korean.
we would constantly have these shot glasses soju, Chen, we would do and shot it, and we've had the most amazing Korean barbecue out there. These pictures, let me tell you, some of my favorite bites of all time. And you can think you have some amazing bites. There were two specifically in Korea. I thought this is just fucking incredible. Had the right sauce, the barbecue in front of you, the wrap, the sauce, the little toppings, fucking phenomenal. And then on another night, we went to go get sashimi. And I've had some good Hawaiian sashimi is still absolutely amazing. And I'll send you this picture after this. But the sashimi in Korea, there is so much with so much soju. Because in Hawaii, I had this all by myself, so it's different. But when you go and have this fantastic feast and a soju with other people around you and you're having a great time, it adds a whole nother level.
That community aspect.
Yes, it was, and that's exactly what the Korean drinking culture is. It's community, it's laughter, it's just being together, and it added so much to the experience, and I loved it.
Oh, that's awesome! I don't know if you can see the comments from Elizabeth Allen Green in chat, because I guess she lived there for 2 years. So she's asking you some questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, were you in Julana? Oh God, I can't right now.
I was in Gwangju. About 4 hours south of Seoul.
Okay.
But I did see North Korea.
That's
Well,
not
that's
green.
easy to
Okay,
do,
sorry, Elizabeth. Sorry. That's. Yeah, but as somebody that's never been in that part of the world and can't, I mean, just to even see North Korea would be like just
and then
trippy, would be crazy.
We all get very drunk because we are pushing our limits, which was because they were very surprised at how much I could drink. They are also surprised at how well I can take spicy food, which was newish to me. Because in Mexico, they were surprised too. So I guess my travels have changed my palate.
Okay, but
anyway,
but how's that red pepper flakes treating you? I mean,
no. I can take that's so I only have a reaction in American spicy food. International spicy food, no reaction. No idea why.
Interesting. I wonder.
I don't know what it is.
That's interesting.
But anyway, so we have all the soju. We're having great conversations, talking. One guy speaks a little bit of English, but understands English at least, and the other one fully speaks it. And we just dive into all these cultural topics that you just don't know about, Korea, or they don't know about America, for example. So it was just great having that connection of we're all interested in each other. Let's talk about this weird stuff that we can't talk about with other people. It's interesting.
That's really cool. That kind of also validates those travel shows a little bit, because sometimes you don't know if it's just like something set up and fake, but it really does then validate, like, oh, these places really do have more of that, like, that community, like you get that culture.
I have, just in the last 3 years, I don't know, 13 other countries, for example, I've been to. And almost every country, you do have that experience of if you go out with other people, if you meet other people and they just start talking to you, they find out where you live, there's just a connection and everyone is interested in each other, even if the political beliefs are different. And as liberal as I am, and not as liberal as some people I've talked to, but we all still get along. And it's just so much fun learning and talking to each other. It is like a travel show I've been on the last couple of years.
That's awesome.
So that's
so basically, the isolationism of America is not pervasive through the rest of the world. It's just us.
Well,
this isn't exactly
it's just us.
It's not a good thing.
My mind's not there at the more. The doctrine, not Monroe Doctrine. It's not the Monroe Doctrine anymore. So we're less isolationist in the Monroe Doctrine.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying Okay, so it is but more accepting elsewhere in the world than
but
say
it's only the last couple of decades.
I think that all these people that espouse isolationism need to go out and meet people from another country.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
but also you still meet the people from other countries who believe in isolationism as well. Like, for example, on the plane when I was going.
No, I have a conversation with them. It's hard to. Is like, okay, I've been to China, and it's hard to sit down with somebody and have a meal, a communal meal. Also to do take a shot with people and give them a a cheers, whatever it is. You know, you say something nice about them. It's hard to meet with those people and then walk away and see them as an enemy.
Yeah.
And then want to be isolated from them. You then become, in a very Buddhist kind of way, they are your brother, they are your sister.
It's like what, Churchill sitting down with whoever, having like whiskey or something, and like hashing out things.
So in Buddhism, you will see. I mean, they talk about how everybody is your mother. Having a conversation with somebody, a meal, a drink, whatever. You're gonna see them as a person.
Right.
You're gonna be connected to them,
right.
And then if you see them as your mother, you're going to be a lot less likely to strike them in some kind of way.
Right. Basically, all diplomacy should take place over a meal and some drinks.
Yeah. And you mentioned communal meal. Communal meal is not just you eating this together. It's you're all sharing the same plates.
Right.
A lot of times the same utensils.
Yeah,
you're all sharing.
Korea, it is like that. It is that shared plate, just like...
which is very hard for me to do.
I know.
Yes. It's very hard for me to do.
But you have to lean into that culture when you're there. You just accept.
But I've done it. Done it, and
after
there were two things. There were two things when I went to China. Where the first time was I go with Mr. Lee, and we go to I don't know where we were. It doesn't matter. It was a blur. It was my first trip.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, so we're going to meet basically the CEO of this science center thing. And I was like, look, I can just go back to the hotel. There's no need. No, he's like, no, you need to go. We had a meal. We were giving each other compliments over shots. I don't know what the fuck he's saying to me. He doesn't know what I'm saying to him. But it was a great time. It was a great time. We had great conversation, as much as you can between yourself, a CEO, and an interpreter.
Like me and Nacho in Colombia. Love you, Nacho.
Yeah, and the second time they took me out to get me drunk. That was their stated purpose.
Yeah, that's the...
And I was like, I got a podcast, so good luck with this. Where the whole goal is for us to just drink and talk about astronomy. So I can probably...
it's ended poorly before.
Early on, we've learned.
Yeah.
We learned.
But in China, though, your shots are thimble-sized shots. Yeah. They aren't big.
Yeah.
Not in Korea.
Yeah. And so they think they're like, you can really drink a lot. And first of all, it's like, well, I got a podcast. Second of all, these are thimble size. This is like not even big for a hobbit. This is, these were small and whatever. But
yeah, it's about that sense of just like a shared experience
but then
community.
They wanted to know all about my tattoos. They wanted to know.
It's a safe space, open forum.
Yeah, they wanted at that point it was why Trump.
And then you go, no fucking clue.
I'm sorry.
The weirdest
Twilight Zone for me too.
The weirdest time in China was I'm doing a training. We go to lunch, and I'm sitting there eating, and there's Trump on the fucking news, and they have it in English.
Yeah.
They have him talking in English. This is a speech at the UN. He's speaking in English, and then they, dub Chinese over it, right? And so, he's basically blasting China. And talking about how China is just evil and all this kind of shit. And I'm just like...
Yeah, as an American sitting there like, I didn't vote for him. I didn't
vote for him.
I
didn't vote for him either time. Didn't vote for.
Right.
Nope, didn't do it. I don't know.
At the same time as well, it's not like everyone still shares your liberal beliefs. So, for example, when I was going down to Paraguay, the person sitting next to me, she was from Peru, but she kept going off on how Trump loves his country and how everybody should support Trump because he loves it more than anything else. And there was
no.
no, but it was still because that is like how Bolsonaro, for example, in Brazil got power because people just assume he loves his country, like Trump loves the country more than anything else. So it's a cult of personality as well. Mm-hmm. But even though I didn't agree with her, we were still able to talk about it as well. Right. So it was interesting.
And you know, I think like so there's people here that are like big Trump people, and I think if we just sat down and had a drink and said, okay, look. Leave all the hyperbole aside. Don't attack each other. Just, why do you like Trump so much? And I'm not going to say anything bad about you personally. In my head, I'm going to call you a racist, but whatever. But I think we can have those conversations.
Yeah.
And the problem is that right now in this country, though, we're not at a point where we can have those conversations. Are you cold?
I'm a little chilly.
So I think if Venusians were real, we could sit down with them and talk politics and just enjoy each other as life forms.
I was about ready to say, let's
They're used to things getting a little hot, a little spicy.
Yeah, so you're on Mars. You're cold. And meanwhile, I'm like, man, it's hot.
I don't know. I haven't been outside yet since I've been back.
It's been raining all day here, so.
Oh, there was nothing. So I do want to talk about Venus and science fiction, but I in my notes as well. We talked about the Messenger program going to Venus and looking back at Earth as if it was an exoplanet and studying it.
There was a Messenger.
Sorry, not Messenger.
That was Venus Express.
Yes, thank you, Venus Express. So they looked back at Earth and saw the pixel and tried to judge the signs of life. So on YouTube, there's about an hour and a half talk by Carl Sagan explaining how to look at Earth to search for signs of life and intelligent life. And he gets down to like 100 meters per pixel until he figures out there's some kinds of life down there. Oh. And it's actually a really cool talk. So I suggest looking that talk up. I'm sure I can find it in my history. Really fun. I had it on the background when I was cleaning the place. It was really fun. Anyway, so now back to Venus.
Venus in sci-fi. All right, so of course, excitement. Oh no, she's looking out the window. The first time that we have Venus written down in literature, where it's other than maybe like, hey, there's a fucking star up there or something.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it?
Are you looking at the outline?
I'm not. I'm assuming Gilgamesh.
No, actually not Gilgamesh. Much sooner than
Beowulf.
Much more recent than Gilgamesh.
Honestly, Beowulf sounds right. That was what 1200s.
No, this is where you're. I'm not talking about referencing, Venus in the sky because the Bible could be Lucifer, fiction. Where you actually write something about it.
Writing.
Okay, understood.
That changes it.
It's not Kepler. That was the moon.
Nope.
So it would have been Jules Verne?
Nope.
I don't know.
Pierre Gassendi, who is French, 1592 to 1655.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, he was the first to write about the possibility of life on Venus.
Hell yeah.
What was the story? Is it boring?
No, I'm at that point where I just yawn.
What was the story about?
He was talking about, in it, he was talking... Now, he's talking about life on Venus and how it might look, and it was less evolved than life here on Earth.
Obviously,
okay.
naturally.
Okay.
Well, that's actually interesting that somebody before... well, I guess it could be around when... he lived during Galileo looking at Venus through a telescope. But just, I don't know, it just seems weird, somebody just thinking about Venus and what life would be like on Venus during that time.
That's eventually how every thought eventually comes. Like, it's weird he thought about that, and then everything else follows. So it's always that initial thoughts.
Yeah, so then next up, also French, 1657 to 1757.
French like Venus.
Bernard de Bouvier de Fontenelle.
I like it.
He wrote a book in 1686. I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Oh, okay, I'll try it. Entretiens sur la pluralité des mondes.
It sounds like you just cast a spell in Latin.
It does. It was the first well-founded scientific novel about extraterrestrial worlds, and it featured civilizations on Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. Yeah. It was actually the most popular book of its type until the end of the 18th century, so the end of the 1700s.
Wow. Well, it's a good thing I didn't learn then, because I would be burned at the stake for being a witch, apparently.
You still might be. Don't give up your hopes yet.
That's true. It is. Life goals. Hashtag life goals.
You do live in Oak Ridge. We have a diverse
Hashtag boss witch.
Yeah. All right. Let's fast forward to some more modern times.
Oh, okay. All right.
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Hell yeah.
All right. He wrote a bunch of books. I have read none of these, and I'm hoping Brandon might have at least one. But I am actually looking at thinking about.
There's one I see that I'm like, all right.
Adding some of these. Is it Pirates of Venus?
Yes, 100% Pirates of Venus.
1934, Pirates of Venus. 1935, Lost on Venus.
Oh.
And then 1939, some dude named Carson.
Carson of Venus?
Carson of
Jimmy?
Venus.
No, that's too early. Carson of Venus.
Yeah, Escape of Venus, and then The Wizard of Venus, which was
Escape
in 1970.
on Venus? That could have been the prequel to Escape from New York.
Sure.
Or a sequel? New
Well,
York,
no, that was
New York,
Escape
LA,
from LA,
and then Venus.
Okay.
Let me get Russell on the line.
Yeah. Kurt?
I am thinking about Pirates of Venus.
I didn't see that last one.
The Wizards of Venus?
The Wizards of Venus.
Yeah, that's because you were talking.
Yes,
I did
okay.
say it.
So I'm into Pirates
1970.
and Wizards, everybody. Pirates and Wizards.
But that was posthumously 1970, so he's dead.
He died and then it was published.
Yeah.
Okay,
kind of like
he didn't write it after he died.
Early science fiction is kind of a rough read. It's kind of a rough read. Unless it's Jules Verne, which is a little different, but yeah, it's still good.
I mean, I'm interested in Pirates and Wizards of Venus. I want to see what they have to offer.
So basically, in these, though, and again, having not read them, but going to read Pirates of Venus, Venus is this place where you do have people that you can, walk around probably without a space helmet, and
that would be
that type of thing.
Wild. Brandon has his hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't raise your hands. Interrupt.
Can we have an episode where we just talk about Pirates of Venus, like a book club episode where we just talk about Pirates of Venus?
We all read it. We all read it.
Okay.
I kind of want that.
The Cosmos book review.
All right, that is going to be on April 7th. That's the next one that's not high in the sky.
Oh, okay.
I have Robert Goddard down, but that's kind of
that's a whole episode. That's a whole fucking episode. Oh boy.
Yeah, but the question is, will Brandon be here for it?
It's gonna be a Herschel moment where I decide like the week before this happens.
Okay, yeah, he's gotta be
gotta be in the zone for that one.
Oh, Jack says in chat the Total Recall author was kicking around a Venus setting at one point. All right.
I've actually never seen the full Total Recall. I only see it once in a while, like in weird hipster bars playing in the background.
Right. We watched it because I had never seen it. So we watched it because I had never seen it, and it
seems like a fun bar movie, which I'm happy with.
Yeah, it's wild.
It is definitely wild. It's definitely wild.
Anyway,
it's so cheesy, but it's great. It's great.
The
it's worth it.
Lady.
Yeah.
And then they get onto the surface
first
and
of all,
the whole...
just
and the eyes
Schwarzenegger.
bulge out, yeah.
But,
no, it doesn't fall out, but it's close to falling out.
It's bulge. She said bulge.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It is definitely worth a full watch of it.
All right.
At some point in your life before you die.
If you want to go to Poland...
Couple hours.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Poland, Stanislav Lem.
Oh, you like pierogies, so...
I do like pierogies.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And not the store-bought pierogies here in the U.S.
No, authentic Polish pierogies.
So good, so good, so good. Anyway, he was a Polish author.
Maybe that's why I enjoyed it, Jack.
He wrote The Astronauts in 1951.
The Astronauts.
That's a fun one.
Yes. He was one of the first to create an image of Venus very similar to our present knowledge of extreme surface conditions on the planet. Quote, and this is from the European Space Agency.
Okay.
Quote, describe the surface of Venus as a hellish place. The astronauts who visit it on an international expedition see the cause of it is not natural. When they discover the remains of an extinct high-technology civilization, they find evidence that the inhabitants had committed nuclear suicide and destroyed their environment.
Oh! So not only is the reality of a runaway greenhouse effect on Venus and a warning for climate change, but also nuclear war.
That sounds a lot like liberal propaganda, guys.
Yeah. Oh yes. How can we end up like Venus? Let's write a book of maybe of how can we end up like Venus? Let us count the ways.
We got to be thick and we got to be hot.
Yeah. All right. So when I was a little kid, I read a short story. We had to read it.
Yeah.
We had to read it for. I was probably in like 5th grade. I don't remember who it was by. So I'm probably about 10 years old. But I remember the story.
Yes.
And the story is about this little girl who is in love with the stars.
Yes.
Yes,
we
I
all
know this
are.
one. Already, I know it.
I don't know it, but is it about me? Because
she's in love with the stars and she lives on Venus.
Oh, it's not about me.
Are you still possibly knowing it?
I got you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Venus is a very cloudy place.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? How can she ever see a star?
It's not Brad. I think it's Asimov. It's not Bradbury. I think it's Asimov.
Okay, I don't know, and I might mess this up. This is me remembering.
You didn't even go to look it up to just.
No,
I got you.
Oh,
I got you.
Okay.
But in 40 years, it may have morphed in my head.
Yeah, a long
and
telephone.
So Brandon is going to, he is going to correct me if I'm wrong. So there is a window in the cloudiness where you can go out and you can look at the stars. You can look at the sky.
Yeah.
And she's so excited about this, and so she's going to go look at the stars. But she's
got about 9 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of time, but everybody goes out. But she gets bullied, right? And she gets locked into a closet. And she's not allowed, she can't get out to go see the stars in the sky. And so she misses it. And this is like, it takes a very long time for the next window to occur. And she just misses it. And I, it's one of those things, it was one of those stories where it's just like, you have all these stories you have to read for your class, but this is the one I remember.
Wait, is that the whole story? She doesn't get to ever see the stars?
No, I think she ends up going.
She does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. I want to say she might leave Venus in the end, but she doesn't get to see it. But it was so sad because I identified with this girl, not for the reasons where she was bullied or locked into a closet, but her love for the stars. I had that love for the stars. And I could go out any night and actually see them. And so the fact that, as a 10-year-old, you would identify with another 10-year-old in a very strong kind of way. And so I identified with this girl, and I was so sad for her that she didn't get to go out and see the.
Did you go out and look at the stars for her?
No, I don't. I probably did, but maybe not intentionally. But
I remember this because I did a short story based off the premise off in the space station as well. But it's called All in the Summer Day. All Summer in a Day. All Summer in a Day. Oh, is that the name
of it?
And it is by Bradbury because it has the same languages. So they lock her in the closet, for example, just to kind of make fun of her because they know that she loves it so much. And they were intending to let her out, but when they see the sun come out, they get so excited and get so happy by it, they forget they locked her in the room. And by the time they remember, the clouds come back and it's rainy. And so she misses everything.
Yeah.
It feels. So
Yeah, it
all
does.
summer in the day, Ray Bradbury.
All summer
Take,
in a day.
Yep. Go take a read.
Oh, I don't want to.
And I had a strong feeling when you mentioned the podcast that would be the story, because it is such a
Oh,
good
really?
story, and it hits so deeply.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna text this to us just so that.
All summer, 1954.
Wow. Both my parents were alive. I won't say how old they are because I won't do that. But
My mom's still 45, so.
Yeah, so that was it, and it has stuck with me. It has it has the feels. You feel it. It was a powerful story, and I just completely felt for that little girl. I identified with her, in that I loved looking at the sky and just thinking about the stars. I mean, because when I was 10 years old, I would look at like Beetlejuice, and I'd be like, or Jupiter, and I'd be like, oh, what would it be like to be there? And in your head, you're like, oh, I wish I was there. I mean, I just wish I was away and could get and was there.
yeah, but then you know that if you were there, you'd be
Yeah, but not when you're 10.
I know, yeah.
No, but when
but
you're
the
10,
idea resonates. What's the word? Help me out. Renaissance. What's
Renaissance?
the word? No. Resonates.
Resonates.
I'm so tired.
I know.
Resonates with
I
you.
know.
Yeah, I mean, when you're 10, you have an infinite supply of
Yes, I know.
oxygen in your spacesuit.
I know.
Yeah.
And,
I've been many places.
Yeah, and so
Which
I survived the sinking of the Titanic.
we were. Oh, that's what so we were talking about something earlier in the episode. I don't know what caused this memory to come alive. But Mike talked about reading this when he was 10 and connecting with this girl in the story that loved the sky so much. But speaking about when you're 10, I remember going camping. This was like a Boy Scout group or something like that. And we were around the campfire after a hike, and we talked about how fast light goes. And they say, okay, I'm gonna start and stop when light has gotten around the planet. That's how fast it is. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. He goes, start, stop. What? And then he did the same thing for the moon. He's like, start, stop. That's so how though? And to this day, I still remember it. So when you're 10, like those moments of resonance, of understanding, really stick with you. Another fun Bradbury short story is called "There Will Come Soft Rains," and I think this is again prescient now. It's about post-apocalyptic, but it's a house that runs all automated. And so it's just a day in the life of this house that's still living, maybe like 100 years after a nuclear, apocalypse. And it just goes through, the toast is toasting, the wash is going on, the AC kicks on, and meanwhile there's nothing but death outside. There's nothing else. It's just a strange atmosphere. Kind of the same idea. Yeah. So.
That's interesting, actually.
Oh.
And it could be fairly prophetic.
Yeah.
Elizabeth performed it in high school. What did you perform in high school?
Part of the Martian Chronicles. She says. I need to read more. I'm very not well read.
I can give you a list.
I know you could.
Also, I have a bunch of books up there as part of the Lady Astronaut trilogy. You would I'd love it. You would. I read them all in like 3 days. It's phenomenal.
She said there will come soft rains.
There will come soft rain.
Senior
Yes.
year in theater.
Yeah. The first one is called the Calculating Stars. Fabulous fucking read. It's basically what if in the 1950s an asteroid wiped out the east coast of the United States. And that's like the first 5 pages.
Oh.
Wow. Jeez.
And then from there, it's you gotta get space.
Oh, you know what I forgot to say? The turning point with Venus and the short stories and astronauts and stuff and life on Venus was, like you said, when we learned more about it. It was when the missions to Venus occurred. And so Venera and all that kind of stuff. People, writers, authors went from Venus to Mars. And there's a big shift.
And you can see that in literally the books over there, because a lot of these books from the 1930s and 40s, they talk about how Venus is a balmy place with just the humidity, but there'll be oceans, so take your swim shorts. Like they're right there. And then a decade later, it's about how it's a hellscape.
Yeah,
so
it's like, fuck this
see
place,
that transition
let's go
in
here.
modern literature. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's just, the way of things. It's just typical with once we learn more, it's like, obviously Venus cannot be this, so we can't.
Right, but it's strange to learn on a planetary scale, going from one habitable extreme to another hellscape extreme. It's a strange seeing that in literature, and literature moves slowly sometimes.
Yeah. But when faced with, the real evidence of what Venus is, you can't, it's harder than to make even a fictional, piece of where it's habitable without having to explain technologies you don't have or understand.
Another author I enjoy, Alistair Reynolds, he does magnificent space operas, and in one of his books he'll go to Venus, but it's realistic Venus, like they have like basically mechanized suits going down to the surface, and they all live in balloons, because you go down to the surface, you obviously die, but it's a lot of fun to do that as well.
Yeah.
How far are you into Red Mars?
38%. It's on Kindle, so I know the exact percentage.
Oh my god! Really? Does it tell you the percentage?
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
I'm 45%.
Yeah, I used to have the book, but I kept giving it away. Now I don't have the book anymore because I kept giving it away. It's like my other favorite book that I will never buy again, but I will buy used, Ender's Game. I keep giving that book away because it's such a fun read, so I don't have it. I can't buy it new, so it sucks.
When you said that you'd given Red Mars away and it hadn't been returned, I was like, oh shit, was that to us?
I don't think maybe one copy was, but I don't think it was to you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm 45%.
I don't have blue or green Mars here.
I'm reading
I don't either.
Book.
Shit, I bought them. Who did I give them to?
Or just
I
put them in their mom's
them too.
house.
So somewhere I've lost them.
Here's the thing. I have unfortunately let people borrow so many books, and I don't get them back. So I understand at this point, if I let somebody borrow a book, I'm giving it to them. So I have to make that change.
I gave you back the books you lent me.
Yeah, have you let us?
He let me read the one book with the about see, I'm very bad. This is what me and reading, because it's harder for me to remember what I read.
But you enjoyed it in the moment.
I did, and it was that Blackbird, with the woman who was like.
Oh, yes. His face is in my head. He loves apples. God damn it! What's his name? It's over here somewhere.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not.
Oh, Chuck Wendig. It's called Blackbirds.
Yes, Blackbirds. Okay.
So the protagonist, if she touched somebody physical contact, she sees how they die.
Yes.
It's just a lot of fun, and she's foul mouth, which basically it's great.
Yes, and that was a very fun read. I enjoyed it, and it went out of my typical.
When did you give me that book?
It was when we were all living
It must have
together.
been a while ago. Yeah.
In Ogden.
Cool.
Yeah. It wasn't a big book. It was like this, and I read it at night when we go to bed.
It's right there, next to one of my favorite books, The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Beautiful language.
They're all your favorite books.
That's not true.
It's true.
I have some I care for less, but this book right here, The Poor Man's Guide to Europe, 1956 edition, is a lot of fun to read. Just random pages.
Just random pages.
Randomly.
Yeah. Europeans like Americans. I won't, but a thumping to the answer. Europeans hate our gut school of thoughts prevalent amongst many Americans. Yes, it's a fun read. There's also next to me Life Among the Germans. Oh, and Elements of Composition. Let's see, since we're here and we're in The Hangover, when do you think this book was written? Elements of Composition.
Ooh.
19.
It looks like I'm gonna go with Ooh,
Wait a minute,
I want to say
called?
like 8.
It used to be owned by Herman G. Wahey from 903 Garfield Avenue in Topeka, Kansas.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna say 1897.
Okay, Mike, what you got?
Oh, what did I say? 1916. I think I threw that out.
1915.
Oh, damn.
Oh, and when we say composition, it's not elements, it's English literature. I should have known that because I bought it. Because I do have old chemistry books here as well, which is what I thought it was when I first looked at it. No, it's an English textbook.
So,
Okay.
so you saw the title, you didn't even look at it.
No, I did, but I bought it, obviously, Topeka, Kansas, so probably when I was in Oklahoma. So I probably bought it about 6 years ago.
That's
I just
great.
haven't looked at it since.
That's great.
All right.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we call it?
Yeah, I
Sure.
gotta find some food.
Brandon needs to. I don't know.
I don't know what I have to do, man.
This is
What do I
just-
do?
You have to stay awake, I guess, now?
I need to
No,
get...
if I stay, so I'm going to stay awake, and then I'll get to bed around 9 or 10. But then circadian rhythm, that's going to say, hey, it's 10 a.m. to your time. You should be awake, and so I'll be sleepy, I'll be tired, and my eyes will pop open at 10 p.m. I think, fuck,
You just need
I'm
to.
wide awake.
I mean, there's things that can help you with that. I won't
No.
elaborate further.
No, I just
Not
get
in Utah.
paranoid.
Not in Utah.
I mean, I still have those pens. I just get paranoid. I don't like it.
Okay, alright. Well, alright. I got
My
something
anxiety
else.
goes through the roof.
I got something else that could help you out, but anyway.
I really wish that like pizza could be delivered. Oh, you know what? This
Pizza's a
good
this
idea.
Thursday,
Brandon is currently
Wait a minute.
at home in Utah.
this Thursday, Pie Day. Gonna be pie and
Yes,
pizza.
we're doing pie and pizza on Pie Day, finally, because we've always talked about it, and then we never end up
We
celebrating
never do
Pie
it.
Day appropriately, so we're Pie
Okay.
Daying it.
Maybe it's a pizza day.
You
I
can
don't
do
know.
whatever
We'll-
you
we'll see.
want. I'm gonna
I
cook
can't- I can't.
those chicken shawarma things.
Oh, good. That'll be good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm so starving right now.
Well, you can go have a snack. We got snackies. We got
We don't
pretzels.
have snackings.
Do we not have any more pretzels?
No, I ate them all.
Oh, well.
Because of fucking COVID and nobody went to the grocery store because we all had COVID until today when somebody thankfully finally
Yeah, we have soup.
tested negative.
soup.
Oh, soup's good. Soup is good.
You can have some chicken.
Oh, but
we have chicken noodle soup.
No,
That's
Do I get
not really-
panda?
I want something.
I can go from great Asian
thick
food
and
to terrible
hearty.
Asian food.
I want something thick and hearty.
That's a big transition. Don't do yourself. Don't do panda like
I
that.
love bad
It'll
Chinese
ruin
food. I
panda
love
for
bad-
you.
So
It won't. It
Yeah,
won't.
I bet it would.
Wait a minute, what's gonna ruin panda?
If he has it this soon to having actual good Asian food.
Oh,
No, I talked about this. I got very drunk off soju and talked about this. And the person I was talking to also agreed that bad mall Chinese food, because he lived in Canada for a while, is excellent. It's terrible, but it's excellent.
It's because it's bad.
It's a guilty
Well,
pleasure.
yes, but then you go to China and you have real Chinese food,
Oh,
and
that's
you're
a whole
like,
difference. Yeah.
holy fuck.
It's like going to Singapore and
Jackson
having the food
mini
there.
pie is what
Okay,
this
now I want to
is.
know what the mini. What? All right, what's in the mini pie?
It's just a mini pie. It's a
Like-
pie, but it's a mini pie.
Like
You just
like
make it smaller.
Peach pie, that kind of pie.
Yeah, like pies.
Oh, okay. You know, I just
No egg rolls in China?
Nope, that's a San Francisco invention.
Go San Francisco.
Oh yeah, I know. I never.
Those are fortune cookies, but I know fortune cookies in San Francisco. I think egg
But-
rolls are San
Like in
Francisco as well.
Chinatown, San Francisco, I'm assuming.
Best duck I ever had, though.
I
Oh
know,
my
you always talk
god.
about the duck. I've never had
Oh,
duck.
that Peking duck.
Oh, it's good.
My god. And you know the thing is it's on the communal. It's on the communal wheel, so it's just
the
going
lazy-
round and round.
Lazy Susan?
And you're just like, I'm gonna push it to make the duck come to me.
Spin
Oh,
the,
I got this.
spin the duck.
I sent you
And-
pictures.
And you
Sashimi.
really just want to take the whole plate and just put it in front of you.
Oh my
And-
goodness.
and, you
I need to
know,
try some duck.
you're getting the Peking duck, and people want to move the round thing, and you're like,
He
nope.
says he
It's
got
so
bulk.
good.
Jack got bulk 3-inch graham cracker crusts, and the kids get to decide on the fruit fillings, and they're gonna have 4 slow cookers going.
Nice. Liz, check your phone.
So, if oh shit, okay, wait a minute. We can't just not all check our phone and then not show
It's
anybody.
just-
Oh,
I can't even
That's
get into my
sashimi.
phone right now.
fantastic.
I don't have it yet.
What's that?
Oh,
There's 2. because they're different plates. Because the first one was so good, we got very tipsy that we ordered another bigger plate.
And then there's the second plate, right there.
And it was actual wasabi. Oh.
Yeah, okay. So apparently, most wasabi here is just horseradish dyed green.
Yeah.
Is that all?
I mean, I love horseradish,
it's not real wasabi.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
So this was the first time I had real
I feel
wasabi.
massively lied to.
Should we go? Should we get in the car now?
No, we cannot get in the car now.
Yeah, we can. We can do it.
We absolutely cannot.
Let's get in the car now.
We will not be getting in any car. Don't worry.
Let's take Jack and Leia and Winter.
We definitely won't be getting in the car with our precious animal children.
And then we will drive 101 miles. Can't be 100 miles.
What's at my parents' house?
To your parents' house. And then we will drop them off. And then we will say, hey, you get to keep them for a bit. And then we're going to go get in a plane in Redmond. Is that what?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then we're going to fly to Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
And then we'll go have mini pies.
Excellent. I'm in.
All right,
I got an airport right next to me.
We're coming.
Why can't your parents need to move?
Again.
Like just 1 mile closer to us.
To make it an even 100?
Yes. So what's crazy is so we moved here in January of 2023 and we lived at Liz's parents for 99 days. Couldn't make it one extra day for 100. It's 99 days. 99 days. And then you put in the distance between your parents' house and here, and it's 101 miles.
That's like one of those fun facts, like John Wilkes Booth killed Lincoln, and whoever killed Kennedy in the book depository in the libraries. They found each other in the same theaters and the same days and shit like that.
Yeah. But it was like, can't you guys get together? The universe is just fucking with me. Can't it just make it 100?
The universe is uncaring, chaotic,
and it's trying to kill you.
Piece of shit, but we love it.
The universe is a piece of shit. Alright. With that, I gotta get to food and use the washroom.
Yeah.
Alright. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Join us in 2 weeks where we talk about... What's the next month? April? Is that the next month?
Leia.
High in the Sky, April.
Yeah.
Yes. The next one is High in the Sky. I wasn't paying attention.
And then I have a fun fact after we get off the air, or before we get off the air, whatever you want.
All right. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Well, as we die in a coughing fit.
Oh, my God.
Jesus. Bye.
All right. That was fun.
We're out. That was good.